who is in Massachusetts. She'll be introducing herself in just a minute, but we just wanted to let you know that we are very excited to be giving you a United States versus Sweden epic matchup in July of 2006, where the game went back and forth, and back again. So a lot of good goals, a lot of crazy happening, blistering hot day, but you can watch this game right after us on either usassoccer.com, YouTube, and Facebook, US Soccer's YouTube and Facebook page. So go there, stay on this, watch this, and have a great time watching the game. But here's Kristine Lilly. Lil, where are you sitting right now?
Hi there. Hi, everyone. I'm in outside of Boston, Massachusetts, and it's actually a nice day, and it's starting to become spring. So we're really happy here. It's getting warmer. But it's exciting to revisit, obviously, old games, and this is a old one, 2006. But, you know, obviously it's against Sweden, which you guys will see coming up. And we've had such a big rivalry against Sweden. I mean, I think every World Cup we ever play, and we always have them in our group. You know, we've beat them and they've beat us only a couple times, maybe. I don't even
just
know.
A few, not many.
But it's a great rivalry, and I respect, you know, them. And I think this game that you're going to see tonight is a bit crazy. And the one thing I could say about it before you see it is always play the game full out, 90 minutes, or if it goes to extra time, always play to the final whistle, because usually towards the beginning of games or the ends of half times or end of games, things happen. And that's all I'm going to let you know about what's coming up tonight.
It's funny, Lila, you say it's an old game, considering that, like, your career spanned so much. We could go really, really, really old for you. This is old compared to maybe some viewers, but for your career, it might be, you know, one of the newer games, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's towards my end of my career, but newer for that. But yeah, 2006. I mean, even now, 14 years ago. That's hard to believe, right?
So weird.
Right. I mean, I've been retired since 10, so that's 10 years. And it's just crazy. Life goes by fast. But I think what's so great is we do have these moments where we can relive them a little bit. We could share a little bit of the history. We could share what went through our minds during the game, what we remember. And I think that's fun for these young fans, or, you know, fans that weren't able to see games like this.
I agree. And it was the last one ever to be taking place in Blaine, Minnesota. And you were there for the first one, which is really cool. And I've been to Blaine, Minnesota a ton, because they used to do like region camps there and national team camps there. It's crazy that now they don't go to Blaine as much. But I mean, remember the Blaine days?
I do. You know, it's so funny. I'm trying to think, when I made the national team, I think I was in Michigan for a camp, but I think soon after that we were there for a Blaine tournament. So a lot of that gets a little bit fuzzy on the time frame. But I do remember we were there a lot. They used to have the I think it was there wasn't the World University Games. They had something else where each region played. It was called something, I forget.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that too, because I played in that with the region team, and then we'd all come and watch y'all play at the end.
Yeah, so there were a lot of great, you know, times there playing games in the early on, and obviously this was 2006, so this is even later on than early. I'm talking 90s when I played there when I was younger. So it was a great facility, and they, you know, it was always a good turnout, and especially for this game.
Yeah, I mean, the people braved the heat. I think they said it was in the 90s, but on the field they measured 117 degrees. What? And I actually remember. Yeah, I actually remember it being really hot because, you know, we couldn't move. We had been in 6 months of training and kicking each other because we didn't. That was a weird time during the, you know, US days where there was no league. We weren't playing a lot of games. I think 2005 we might have played 5 games total, something like that. And so we were just ready to kick someone else but ourselves, because we've been training for so long, and we still couldn't even get moving because it was so hot.
Yeah, no, I remember 2006 we were training in California.
Yeah.
That was because I remember that's the year I got married. So I was like, okay, I was training and also preparing for my wedding. Crazy. But yeah, no, I do remember. I kind of remember the field too. I think I remember there was was there a fence around it a little bit? Like,
yeah,
the bleachers were on one side and we were on the other. And then the goals I have were to the left of us on a bench. From what things you remember. I'm like, why would I remember that?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like, I think we wore white jerseys. Correct.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see tonight.
But
it was hot.
I'm pretty sure it was white.
Yeah, it was hot, and a fun game for the crowd.
It was fun. I mean, I still think about how the goal that I scored, which shouldn't have gone in. I was like, thank you, Abby, for fouling the keeper. I was like, she just kind of, I think someone said she blocked out the sun from the keeper because she jumped, and the keeper, who was subbed in later, just came out. She should have never come out either, and it bounced and went in. And I was just like, I looked back at it just to see the highlight, and I was just like, my face showed it all. I was like, well, and then you do the bomb at the end.
I know, and I kind of remember too that the end, and it was just a little bit of, I remember we had a throw in, right? You throw it, and bouncing in the box, bumping around, and I just kicked it, and we were all like, did we just do that? Was that just happen? But it's crazy though but that goes to show, when you stick to playing through until the game's over, you can't stop playing ever, because anything could happen. I mean, all three, the goals were all within 5 minutes, right? Last 5 minutes. 89th minute, and I think yours was. And
then Sweden again, and then you.
Yeah.
And I think with that goal that I scored, I was just like, I just want to get this in the box and see what will happen. And I think then their goal was kind of the same thing. They just wanted to get it in and see what would happen, and then went over hope. And then same with the throw-in, bouncing, and you just finished it, which was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we scored. Abby scores the 38th minute, and then all the rest are all second half goals.
Yeah. So you got to stay to the end of this game is what we're trying to tell you right now.
Yeah, it's like if you miss the beginning, that's right.
Yeah, if you miss the beginning, you're not missing much. Just kidding. It was a fun game.
But that was fun. And I think that goes to a lot of, I mean, when we think about the games we played and everyone's like, well, you guys were so successful. I'm like, yeah, we were. But there were moments where, games we came up short, or more so in our training, when we're training so much, we're kicking each other's butts. So we're losing constantly in practice. So we knew we never liked to lose, so we always played full out. And especially in these friendlies, they weren't really friendly. I mean, that was the game everyone else gave. But when we stepped out on the field, we wanted to win every single time. And this just was one of those games that we're winning this thing.
Yeah, especially like you said, Sweden. They've always been an arch rival. So, I mean, it's not a friendly at all.
No, I remember the first World Cup in '91, they were in our group. And we were up 3-0, and they came back to 3-2, and we just held on to win that first game. That's the '91 World Cup. And the '95, I don't know if they were in our group, but they normally are. In '99, they were in group.
2003 and 2007, they were.
2003 and 2007. So they're always lingering.
They were in this last one.
They're in this last one, the Olympics in 2016. So they're always there. And I think, they're always in there, but they still haven't got over that little hump to finish it off. But they're a team we respect and enjoy playing. So and they've had some good players come through.
Yeah. Oh, you were talking about practice. I think that's one thing that when they come over for the NWSL, all the foreign players are like, when you go into a practice with the U.S. people, they are 100 miles per hour. It's never a day off. And like you said, we never like to lose, even if it is practice.
Yeah, no, it's true. And then I played in Sweden in '93 and also in 2005, and it was a little bit different. The practice sessions, they didn't play by like this. There wasn't sidelines. It was like the ball would roll out, and I'm like, it's out of bounds. They're like, no, we just keep playing. I'm like, oh my gosh, and and it wasn't like, oh, cutthroat, we're gonna see how we win. So there is a different mentality that we have here in the States, and I think that's due. That mentality has helped us be successful and fun to compete, and not only in the games but in practice. So there is a different, I think, element in our societies that for training and
yeah, for sure,
attitude.
Yeah. All right. Well, switching gears, I know we'll come back to the game maybe a little, but I want to know, how are you doing right now?
I'm doing good. I mean, obviously with the state of where we are, we're hoping everyone's healthy. And all the people that are on the front lines, they're calling it, the hospitals and working, and that are, we appreciate everything that they've done and are doing constantly for us. So thank you for that. My husband's a firefighter, so he's out there as well. So proud of what he's doing. But since we're home, we're homeschooling. I got kids in 5th and 2nd grade. So they get school in the morning block. They go to the computers. Everything's on there. Seems to be going well, I hope.
Are you learning something too from teaching them?
Well, I'm learning about Zoom. My oldest helps me. Sydney helps me figure out, Mom, you can do this or you can do that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So I'm learning about that. But it's just plugging away, and you're just trying to make them, an environment where they feel safe and happy and not so worried about what's going on, because you don't want to put too much fear in them. So we're plugging away. The weather's got nice here in Boston, so we're finally getting outside and enjoying some weather in our yard.
I did hear you might get some snow this weekend, though.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Boston in the springtime, you never know. Sometimes the weather, we had 70 degrees this weekend, and then this past weekend and this weekend talking about maybe some flurries. I'm like, go figure.
That's crazy.
But we're doing all right, and the kids are biking and doing different things they haven't done before since they have a lot of time, and so doing good. How about you? How are things going for you?
Good. Well, in Atlanta now, we actually just bought a house. During all this crazy, we were renting for a while, and then our lease was running up, so we were like, well, we got to find a house. And so thankfully, right before everything shut down, we found one. So that's given me something to do since I don't have kids. Just my 2 dogs. My puppy keeps me very entertained. Yeah. She likes to, run around and do zoomies around the house. So that's my Zoom call every day is her zoomies. But unpacking and decorating has been fun. Robert, and for all of you that don't know that, my husband's a pediatric cardiologist. So he works up at Children's Hospital of Atlanta, up near Emory. So that's been interesting. He only can go in when they absolutely need him, when a child is in, desperate need and stuff, because they try to keep him home because he can read his EKGs and stuff like that from here. So it's been nice for me to have him home a little bit more. But now he's back to full time doing procedures that they had to get the beds for the more critical patients because they were low on beds. But I've learned a lot about Emory because they were ready. They had the Ebola cases come there, and the CDC is here, so they were ready to go. So that they shut down Robert from being in the hospital all the time pretty quickly. So we've been grateful for that. So thankfully they were very prepared. So that's been good to have him around. But
yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And you guys are safe too. Well, I think Emory, when we were there for the 96 Olympics, I think we were at the college for something. I don't know if we trained there.
You probably did. I mean,
I think when we got close, because the final was in
Athens.
So we never were in Atlanta for the Olympics there. But we were in Florida and there. But I think for some reason, I don't know why, I think we have trained there before. We trained there prior to the finals.
I could see that. I'm actually helping to volunteer with Emory because
cool.
You remember Sue Patberg? I used to know Sue Montaigne Patberg, but now she's just Sue Patberg.
What's the maiden name?
Sue I think it's Montaigne.
Yeah, that name I know. Yeah.
Yeah, she played at UMass with Bry, but she's like within the youth national. She was a youth national team coach of mine. Okay. And so I called her up and I was like, hey, can I help out some volunteering with Emory soccer team, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Even though not right now, but it's still, fun.
That's what we were supposed to come to last weekend with Team First with Mia Hamm and Tish Ventrini to do it in Atlanta.
Well, let me know if you come back. I can help out.
Well, hopefully we'll reschedule. We're there a year ago, 2 years ago. I forget when we were there. But yeah.
You mean last week? Seems like a year ago.
I know. So everyone's juggling, rescheduling things. Hopefully.
Yeah, I bet.
Getting these kids hopefully back out on fields and in school and in life.
Yeah, I know. That's what's nice about these games. Little nostalgia to see, live games with fans.
Yeah.
I'm like rewatching Liverpool games myself just because So I think today is the day they came back from Barcelona for last year in the Champions League. So I'm going to rewatch that game just because I miss just watching soccer.
Yeah, I mean, just sports, just like something to flick on. I think what's kind of neat is the sports isn't the all into everything, but obviously it serves its purpose of a distraction, entertainment for people. Giving something, feeling a part of. So I think that's something that we realize what we've missed is just that being a part of your team that you support or the sport you love. And hopefully.
Well, that and it's a bit of an escape too. I think people are just, the grind of everything and, it's every day. You kind of feel like Groundhog Day sometimes, you wake up and you just do the same thing. So I think you kind of get lost in it because, even watching like The Last Dance has been awesome about, the Chicago Bulls. That's been incredible. That's like live sports to me. So it's just getting lost in something like that and, not just binge watching another TV show where I'm binging a bunch of podcasts and books and everything. So
I know. Well, I mean, just this game, I think, but when I think back just to that year, you're talking about 2006. I mean, that was kind of a quiet year. It was right before the World Cup. And then we had the 4 Olympics, and then 2005 was quiet.
Dead. It was.
That's where I went to
Yeah.
Sweden to play.
Oh, right. Yeah.
In 2005.
I was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I played in, yeah.
And then the league was in that lapse of the professional league during that time too, you know.
From 2003 to 2009, there was no league.
Yeah, WSA had stopped and WPS hadn't started yet. So there was a lot of like flux there. And that's just so, you know, if you look back from the history of the national team from 91 till, it's just crazy that I think we played maybe 2 games in 2005. And then 2006.
Yeah, I think it was close to, it might have been 5. Yeah. If I remember counting correctly, but it wasn't many.
No.
And that's so weird because you look, you know, except for this year, obviously, but, you know, nowadays it's, you know, 15, 20.
Yeah. Well, then too, and then when we weren't with the team, we were training on our own. So it kind of puts it in light of what's going on with all the kids now. Everyone's at home trying to figure out what to do to stay fit. And that's what we used to have to do with the national team when we weren't together. So you're training on your own, finding ways to stay fit, finding ways to touch the ball, whether it was a wall, kicking it against it, finding a dog to try to take the ball away and be your best defender. I had that for a while.
I just had a Zoom call with a team, and I was like, my dog was one of my best defenders trying to get it away.
So I've been doing some calls with teams too and telling kids, I mean, you got to be creative. You got to find ways. No one's going to solve it for you right now, so you got to solve it yourself. So I think this is kind of a time too for these kids to be growing outside of normal, organized, structured environment. So hopefully we'll have some more creativity and confidence throughout this for the kids too.
I know. That's what I was telling. I was like, you can now you have time to make up your own move. And, you know, if you've been really trying to work on a specific element of your game, now is the time to do it because, you know, you have the time. And if you can just find a little park somewhere that's open, you know, or even in your backyard, you can work on, you know, some skill. I even told him, even in the house, you might break a lamp or 2. I've done that in my day. You're fine. Just say, I'm sorry.
Who hasn't broken something before as a kid?
But I'm like, you know, I mean, it is time for creativity because you have to do it. And it's right. I mean, we had to work on our own because we didn't have the league, and you can only train, you know, as hard as we do for a certain amount of time, and then you do need a break. So, you know, it's very important to learn those habits, and that is one thing about right now is that you can learn those habits and really figure out, you know, balance with soccer. And then when you go back on your team, you can show them how much better you are.
Yeah, and most definitely times for growth and patience and understanding and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Well, so going back to the game, is there anything specific that you remember that weren't the goals, or just, you know, the heat or the fact that it was a revenge? Or?
Well, I just I do, like I said, I talked a little bit. I remember somewhat of the field. I remember the bench being on the side, because I think I remember getting a ball there and doing some sort of move, and our bench was like, ooh. I don't think it was anything crazy, to be honest with you, but just that it was warm. And I bet, you know, if I am correct, the grass was probably a little bit longer because grass in Minnesota was always really thick.
And
so it's unlike these fields that they're a little bit like carpet playing on. So I think probably the ball was a bit slower, and that made it even worse with the heat and all that. But overall, it was just a exciting game for us at the end, and fun.
What I guess my question is, what was it like, you know, because you've been on the national team since you were what, 15?
16.
Sorry, I went too young. Sorry.
Yeah, Mia was 15.
Okay. So 16. What was it like going through each entity? You know, you went 91 to 2007 when it comes to World Cups, and you went from like being the youngest to then being the captain, because you had the you know, captain armband on in this game. What kind of was that kind of like for you?
Well, I think, you know, as a player, you grow and you learn, and I think we all do, no matter what our role is, what position we are, and where we are. But I remember being a young player and just taking in everything from what the older players were saying, the leadership was sharing with us, just keeping my mouth shut, put my head down, and just playing. And learn what all taking in and finding your own style of leading. trying to put that together. And so as I got to be an older player on the team, you know, I always wanted to make sure that I was leading by example and made sure whatever I was asking of my teammates that I could do. And whether it was fitness, my touch on the ball, preparation, attitude, being social with everybody. That was probably my one thing I wasn't so great at, because I was very quiet. So I didn't always just go up to start a conversation, but I think I got a little bit better than I used to be. So I think there's elements that I didn't have it all as a leader, but I think you take what strengths you do have and kind of go with it and try to lead the best you can. And the biggest part of leadership too is just not you, it's the rest of the gang. So, you know, from that comes from our coaches and right up to US Soccer leadership down, to have that and having the whole group kind of, you know, have the same mentality and the same mindset behind that. So when you are playing and you are going in together, that you're all on the same page and want the same things.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, you know, just watching you as a leader, because you definitely led by example. I think you always broke the fitness test. Like yeah, I think the beep test probably stopped on you. we're all just sitting there watching you just continually run. And I mean, you showed up every day ready for practice. And, you know, so you know, I'll say as a player that watched you, you definitely led by example in a great way, and you're a great leader. So I'll say that. So that's just a lot of fun. Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I'm guessing you probably have a bunch of those leadership skills at home as well, with being a mom of two during this.
Yeah, it seems a little bit harder to lead your kids sometimes. Some days I feel like I'm failing at it, but it goes along with it. And it's funny when we talk about this, not to just plug right now, but I did write a book about the success of the U.S. women's national team. It's called Powerhouse, and it's about, you know, all the things that helped us be successful, whether it was communication, leadership, foundation, having the same mindset, doing what's right. And all those things, if you look through the years that we were on the national team, and even to this team today, all those elements were involved in that. And you got to have all that come together. And I think the U.S. team is such a great example for other teams, other organizations, of what is working. And I think leadership is one of the main roles. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have April Heinix was one of the first leaders. I had Carl Overbeck, Julie Foudy, and I know you've overlapped with Jules in there. But there were some great leaders, and there's a lot of times that I would get caught like, oh, well, they do it this way, maybe I should try to do that. Jules is so passionate and outwardly going with her personality. And I was like, well, I can't be that. So you're truly finding the right elements that help you. But I think overall with the leadership, it's the team concept to help that really be a success and help your team be successful.
How do you think that started? I mean, you were right there at the beginning.
You know, I think had a lot to do with Anson. He was the second coach of the national team, but the first one for the first World Cup. And he said it, he set the, you know, foundation early on. We're going to be fit, we're going to play for each other, and we're going to compete, and you're going to care about each other. Not forcing us to care, but we became to care and love each other. And the environment that set up was a lot of competition, and that created an environment where the standard was so high early on. And I think now on this current team, the standard's high. And I had Sam Ewis on a Zoom call with the teams I work with, and she was talking how you step on that field and you're competing, you know, because you want to first make the team, and then you want your team to be better. So I think that's all kind of started from the beginning, and I think Anson had a lot to do with it. And I think the teams continue that competitive and mentality and mindset about now.
Well, I know Anson had a huge impact on my life, you know, at Carolina too, with that kind of mentality where, you know, you do play for each other. You still hear it today when you hear his speeches and everything, where it's play for each other. Yeah, there's that competitive cauldron out there, but you still are a team, and even you want to be the best so that your team can be the best. It's not, you know, just an individual sport. It's so everybody can make each other better, and we can come together with all the hard work that you do in practice. You come together at game time, and that's when you can prove like how good of a team that you are. And so I think that, yeah, I can see it, you know, I know that Anson was definitely the reason, a big reason for it. And then the coaches continued it because the players continued it. And so it's neat to see. And I think it's funny when you look at, you know, the World Cup, and you heard a lot of teams being like, you know, we're there with the U.S. when it comes to mentality. And they're getting there. They're getting better, you know, definitely getting better. But, you know, you watch our team win again at the World Cup stage. I just think that mentality has been because of how y'all started it from the beginning. They've been able to learn it for, you know, since 1988 or whatever it was to 2018 and then and beyond. So I think I think as much as countries are trying to catch up, we've had it for so long, so we've been able to keep getting that craft better and better and better.
Yeah, well, you saw it as a younger player coming in with the gang that was early on, and how did it feel with that mindset coming in as a young player into the team? I mean, when I was younger, we were kind of just developing, so then you joined the team when the team was kind of there, and a lot of players had been there for a while.
I just remember the first camp I came into. I've told this story a lot, but I was so afraid of all of y'all because I had a poster of y'all on my wall. And I had my pillow, and that was back in the day when we'd pick everybody at the airport at the same time in a bus, and I had my pillow coming from the airport, and you probably don't even remember because you were probably talking to everybody, but I just stuck my head in my pillow and I ran to the back of the bus because I was so afraid of all of y'all, because I was like, y'all were my idols growing up. Like I said, the poster on the wall, and Anson called me up and he was like, stop genuflecting on these players and play like you can, because I wasn't competitive enough in practice. I was like letting you have the ball, and so finally I started getting in there, and I'll never forget this, and I've told you this story before, but I fouled you and I hurt you a little bit, and this was a couple of camps later, and I thought you hated me because I was like, oh my gosh, I just hurt Kristine Lilly's ankle, because I stepped on it wrong, but you didn't, you didn't even remember who did it, you just remembered it hurt, that kind of thing. So I just think that's funny, but you come in and you learn fast because y'all do have that environment, and you have, when I was there, it was Foudy who was leader, and I like how you're very nice about saying it. She's loud, loudy Foudy,
passionate.
Yeah, passionate. Yeah, but in a good way, because she sets that standard, very quickly. And I've always said she's one of the best leaders, that I've ever had, because she does set that standard. And you come in and she brings you all together. You're a team, but at the same time, once you hit the white lines, we all go for it, because that's the only way we can make each other better. So yeah, you learn it quick because of y'all, because y'all set the standard.
No, you do. You do, and then every minute of the game counts, baby.
That's right. So that's why I'll say this to everybody. We're gonna finish this up. Lil, you have any final words before I wrap it all up?
No, I just think, enjoy the game. I think obviously we enjoyed playing it. The last the bit might be a little bit more exciting than the rest of it, but enjoy it, and it's good to go back in memory lane.
Yeah, we hope you enjoy this game coming up. It's a fun game to watch the very, very end. I mean, the very, very end. You need to watch it against Sweden. And we're so glad that y'all were here to join us. We hope you enjoy the game after. And I do want to send all the love to everyone out there during all of this, our frontline workers, the essential workers, everyone out there. We appreciate you. We appreciate everyone that's staying home and social distancing. We need to band together strong as a team, just like the U.S. team does. Us as a country needs to band together. Us as the world needs to band together, so we can all get through all of this. And again, enjoy the game. We've loved being with you. And yeah, here we go. Take it on Sweden. Bye, everyone.
Of 2007, the USA women begin that preparation today for that next World Cup. Today from the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota, the USA women get ready to take on Sweden, who finished second in the World Cup of 2003. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Blaine, Minnesota, along with former USA Olympic and World Cup champion Julie Foudy. I'm JP Dellacamera with qualifying right around the corner. What does the USA look for today?
Well, Coach Greg Ryan, the United States coach, will definitely be switching gears. In 2005, he was looking at a large pool of players, looking at new players, trying new things. Now he's going to bring that pool down to about 25, 30 as they focus in on this qualification.
And one player that Greg Ryan can always count on is the very dependable Kristine Lilly.
And Kristine Lilly, 309 caps today. International appearances for the United States. Not only a great goal scorer, as you saw her there against Sweden, but she's just a tremendous presence on the field at all times. She's great defensively, like you saw in the 1999 World Cup, saving the ball off the line against China. Her experience is critical to this young U.S. side.
She's also having a great year in 2006. We have known Kristine Lilly for so many years, from childhood to her adult years. She has always been a champion. We'll get to know more about Kristine Lilly and the USA Women's National Team when we come back to Blaine. We'll have the starting lineups. "97 degrees today, temperature-wise, in Blaine, Minnesota, as we get ready for the kickoff. Sweden will not like that as you look at what the temperature is today in Stockholm. Quite a bit different. That may play a factor today on the Swedish side. Sweden's in yellow and blue, USA in white, as this one is underway with Heather Mitz, number 2, sending it forward for the United States. It immediately goes out of play. And how will weather conditions affect today's game in terms of speed of play?
Well, these are one of those days where you are happy that you're retired from playing soccer on the field, JP. It's hot out there. They're going to have to slow the game down a little bit. They're going to try and play a high-energy game, but with the heat and humidity, it's going to slow it down.
And more of a chore, you would think, for Sweden. Not used to these kinds of conditions like the U.S. as Heather O'Reilly takes it wide right side. And this will go out of play. It's going to be a goal kick coming up. Let's check out the United States starting lineup. Starting in goal, Hope Solo gets another start.
And the United States is going with the 4-3-3. Hope in goal, getting another start. She's doing great as the young keeper. The back line for the United States, Christy Rampone making her first appearance for the United States back from a pregnancy of last year. 3 in the middle, and Leslie Osborne has some big shoes to fill. Filling in for Shannon Box, the holding defensive central midfielder, and 3 up top for the United States with Abby Wambach leading the line.
Sweden getting it back and looking to send it across the way on that far side. Josefin Erkvist, number 19, will play it back. Westberg will play it over. We'd like to thank Bud Light and all of our U.S. soccer sponsors for allowing us to present this game without interruption. Westberg missed it there. USA getting possession, played inside. Ali Wagner looking, waits for the help. On the far side, Lilly to the end line. The cross, knocked out for a corner kick. Kristine Lilly getting it done. We'll have a feature on Kristine, a little bit on her personal life coming up at halftime.
And you can already see the 3 forwards for the United States trying to be busy, run those Swedes. They don't like the heat, like you said, JP, so the United States will try and play a fast-paced game to begin with, and Sweden will try and slow it down.
Short corner kick now played inside the box. It's deflected away, and the USA is going to earn another corner kick. Greg Ryan giving them a lot of freedom on their set pieces.
He says they've been working on it for the last 2 months in residency training. Good look at Abby Wambach, tall forward for the United States. They're going to be targeting Abby on these set pieces on corner kicks.
Corner kick's going to be taken over the other side of the field. That's the reason for the delay.
Sweden traditionally very strong in the air, though. The United States has always struggled actually defending them on set pieces, so for the United States, a good opportunity to actually pay it back on the other side.
Set for the corner again. They're indicating short, and they fake it out. Instead of going to Wagner, it goes inside, intended for Frimpong. So they try to give Sweden a different look. Got a whistle on that far side. The foul was called. USA is going to have a free kick coming up. Frimpong's a player to look for at the back post on those set pieces. A lot of on-field chatter, which as an ex-player, I'm sure you'd like to hear. Good communication on both sides. Wagner ready, leaves it off. Now she'll take it instead. At the side, cleared out. Nice clearance by Erkvist. Sweden looking to attack on the right flank. Schelin couldn't get to that ball. Slid over to Rampone. Sweden starting lineup today, a lot of experience. It starts in goal with Caroline Jonsson, who has had 70 international appearances.
And Jonsson gonna hold the back line for Sweden. They actually have a young 4-back going in. Westberg being the oldest on that back line, bringing some experience. In the midfield, they're going with a 4 midfield, which will match up well against the United States 3. Schelin, again, a youngster to look for the Swedish lineup. And Svensson, of course, the star for Sweden up top.
Right between the benches. This one will go out of play. It'll be a throw-in for the USA. Kristine Rampone back with the team after missing 2005 when she was pregnant. Now she's back. Another soccer mom.
And talking to the team and talking, Christy will never say this herself, Rampone, they said she has been phenomenal. Starting 6 of the 7 games this year, they said she hasn't even missed a beat. She's got the Joy Fawcett gene, I guess.
Should mention that's why Kate Markgraf is out expecting her first child.
Something in the water, JP.
Yeah. Frimpong back to clear, halfway line.
Kate Markgraf is due in 2 days, so I'm sure she's watching.
Sweden fighting there. Sweden can match the USA, as you were talking about before. Physically, certainly. If you're talking about speed, that's where the USA could have an edge.
And the United States known to be traditionally very fast. They like to use their speed on the flanks. You can see Kristine Lilly already trying to turn players. Greg Ryan talked a lot about using an offensive system today, pressuring them high defensively to win it in their attacking third and trying to press them.
Greg Ryan hasn't lost yet as a head coach of this team. No one else, and they've had some great coaches coaching the women. No one else started off their first 18 unbeaten. They've given up 3 goals besides as a team. Played across by Whitehill, who used to be Kat Reddick the last time I think we televised a game. Now married. Played inside the box. That's headed out by Westberg. Sweden looking to move it upfield. Rachel Wu, today's referee, making that call. Goes against the United States. There will be a free kick coming up for Sweden. USA got to know Sweden, USA players and fans, when they had that great run in the 2003 Women's World Cup, finishing second in Germany. They're missing a couple of key players today. Hanna Lundberg out with a hamstring injury, and their captain, Elin Elblom, had a family commitment, did not make the trip to the United States. Those are 2 great players. US winning it. Carly Lloyd putting it into space, brought down inside the box. Lilly with a shot, it's saved by Jonsson. And now cleared out. First good chance of this afternoon.
And there's been a lot of talk about the youngsters in the midfield. Carly Lloyd, Leslie Osborne. That was a great ball in by Carly Lloyd.
It's a good ball by Wagner to Lilly, right-footed cross, and Jonsson has that. A lot of the right foot so far from Kristine Lilly. Known perhaps more for her left, although she can use either one, obviously. It's coming all the way back towards Svensson. That's what you've got to watch out for the United States. They had the run of play at the other side of the field, and all of a sudden Sweden was upfield in a hurry.
And Sweden is great at transition, especially if you have a keeper like Jonsson who can kick it 80 yards. It always helps. But that's where Svensson is so dangerous. She's so fast up top. We always talked about it playing her in past World Cups. You got to contain her and keep her back to goal. When she's faced up towards your own goal, she's dangerous.
Schelin plays it back. She scored 5 goals in World Cup qualifying. Sweden, they are led by Thomas Dennerby, and they're looking to qualify for the next World Cup in 2007. 16 teams qualifying, including the host nation, China. Sweden hope to be one of them. They need 1 win in the next 2 games to get there. Foul was called. USA will have a free kick. Heather O'Reilly, certainly a player to watch. Only 21 years old, out of East Brunswick, New Jersey. Wearing the number once worn by the great, legendary Mia Hamm. Still looks strange to see other players wearing those numbers.
No pressure wearing that number.
No, Carly Lloyd has yours, number 11. Here's a long ball played inside, and Jonsson has that. Long distribution. So she can throw as well as kick. This time it was lost. Sweden can't afford to give up possession that easily, especially on a day like today. Wambach, and that's going the other way. Sometimes Abby, because of her size, has fouls called against her that you would think, no, it should have been the other way.
And here's a great look at the ball in by Carly Lloyd. Great pace on it, good texture, just puts it in behind the defense. Kristine Lilly doesn't like it on her right foot as much. She'd prefer it on her left foot. And a good save by Jonsson.
Settled there by Osborne. Carly Lloyd plays it back on the left. Kristine Rampone puts it into space, try to find the feet of Wagner. Instead, Sweden wins it back to the feet of Jonsson. USA trying for some high pressure, even on this blistering hot afternoon. Greg Ryan told us today it might be harder to pressure Sweden because of their penchant for playing the long ball.
And they do like to play a direct game. They sometimes will mix it up, but because they're so good in the air, they like to go up to their forwards and run off them. But you can see the United States hasn't played an international game in about 2 months, just trying to get its rhythm.
This one's cleared out of play. This is the first time we're seeing the U.S. team in this country. They played their first 9 games against teams ranked in the top 13 of the world, all on foreign soil. They've got an outstanding record, only given up 3 goals, haven't lost except for the 1 match on penalty kicks to Germany after a 0-0 result. Played inside the box now of the U.S., and that goes wide. Goal kick coming up. This is the player that right now is the #1 goalkeeper for the U.S. squad. Brianna Scurry, we should point out, was probably going to get the start today, but suffering from a concussion. This is her home state too, so it would have been a good opportunity to see Bry.
She had a collision with Wambach in training last week and was hoping to come back and play in her home state. Unlucky for the United States, Bry took the 2005 year off, so Hope's been in goal since then, doing a great job starting for the United States.
Played out of the back by Sjögran. Cleared by Osborne. Carly Lloyd out of Rutgers. Off a flick, she got it right back. She can shoot. Looking outside. Passes instead to Wambach, and that one was off the mark. Abby Wambach with 54 international goals in only 72 appearances, an unbelievable strike ratio.
Tied this year, 9 games, 5 goals with Kristine Lilly. She's just one of those pure goal scorers, Abby Wambach, and she can score anyway, head, on the ground, feet. She's got a great sixth sense. Sixth sense I never got, JP.
That one went off Rampone, so there'll be a throw-in coming up for Sweden. On the far side of the field, there'll be plenty of liquid refreshments today if they can get there for Erkvist. 12th minute, scoreless, Sweden and the United States. And the USA will have a throw-in from that far side of the field. Rampone will have a throw-in. Earlier today, FC Dallas, Kenny Cooper. That's a player to watch maybe for the next World Cup. He plays for FC Dallas. So the win, that was in Chicago's new stadium, Bridgeview, Illinois, Toyota Park. Great looking facility.
I have yet to see that nice facility, but I heard it's great.
This will be a clearance by Jonsson. MLS All-Star game will be played there, and we're hearing that a women's national team game may be played there in the future too. Here's Frimpong, pushing it up. Lloyd. Carly Lloyd. Try to go wide for Lilly. That's intercepted. Immediately it's turned over to Heather Mitz. Wagner, the good playmaker, will push it back. Whitehill to Osborne. Mentioned Osborne filling in for Shannon Box with a hip injury. Shannon Box could be ready for next weekend's game against Ireland. Schelin plays it up. 5 is Seger. Svensson, not a factor yet, but all she needs is one good touch. It's played wide to Erkvist. Erkvist, nice cut there. Oh, another good one. On this sweltering hot day, that may take a lot out of her. It's pushed forward now outside, intended for Schelin. That's blocked, and the USA will clear it out. Wambach in the air, and she goes down in a heap. Play continues as Kristine Lilly takes it on the right flank. That's picked off by Sweden. 15 is Sjögran.
And the real challenge with these two systems, you see a good shot of the Swedish back four right now. They're playing a 4-4-2, so their numbers up in midfield. The key for the United States today is actually getting their outside backs forward. So they have 3 forwards already, but can they supplement the midfield with some of the backs?
Erkvist trying to play it inside. Bouncing ball gathered in by Hope Solo.
And that Swedish back line is traditionally like the Norwegians, very organized, very strong. They rarely are caught out of shape. So you got to fly numbers at them to try and throw them off.
You're allowed 6 subs today, and these are the players you might see today. Somebody like a Lindsay Tarpley. There's a player on the bench too, Megan Rapinoe, that is the only player who has yet to play for her country. They tell us to watch out for her. She had a great freshman year at the University of Portland. And I think on a day like today, especially with these temperatures, you will see a lot of subs for both teams.
And another one is Natasha Kai from Hawaii, first Hawaiian to play on the women's national team. Having a tremendous year with 5 games and 3 goals for the United States.
More contact, the foul was called on Abby Wambach. Rachel Wu is already going over to have a chat. On the Swedish bench, they have a lot of experience as well, including in Tornqvist, Hanna Marklund. These are players that have started before. Sarah Larsson. So some good players that we might see later on this afternoon.
And interesting to see Törnqvist on the bench. I played with her actually in Sweden, and a great central back player for Sweden, one of the most capped ones on the team.
It's a nice move by Svensson, trying to keep it on the ground, looking for Lundin. Svensson getting it back. This one's blocked to Örqvist. Trying to get free on that right flank. She'll get a throw in for her side here in the 16th minute. Svensson wearing the captain's armband, silver ball winner. That's for the second best player at that last World Cup in 2003. She made a name for herself. She was an electrifying player.
Very popular over in Sweden as well.
Örqvist, that was a nice move. At the end line, the cross in front, and Frimpong in the right spot. Good clearance. Sweden will get it back. Westberg puts it up. Frimpong in the air. She'll challenge every ball. Örqvist with Rampone leading on her. Carly Lloyd came back to help out. Sjögran will take it to the flank for the cross. It's deflected out for a corner kick. And here's where Sweden can also be very dangerous.
And you're seeing Sweden very busy on that right side. Örqvist is only 22 years old. They, like the United States, brought in a lot of young players. She's been doing very well for Sweden. They talk about her being the next big thing in Sweden, and you can see why with how busy she's been today.
USA marking up, defending this corner kick. Frimpong knotted it down, but it's still loose in the box. Kept in by Seger. Out to the wing it goes. The cross is coming inside for Lundin, and she goes down in a heap. That was a great opportunity, though, for Sweden to get the game's first goal.
And the United States just allowing too much service from their own left side. You're seeing Örqvist get in. You're seeing Schelin get in. So needing to shut down the right side for Sweden.
Rampone bringing it up for the United States. In the middle, Carly Lloyd. Rampone's pass on the wing. Wambach. Carly Lloyd. And Sweden gets called that time for the foul. Quick restart was costly for the U.S. They give the ball away. Schelin. Good job of holding until the end. Carly Lloyd partially blocked it. Örqvist for Schelin. She started the play initially, and Frimpong with a nice job to step in front and win it. This time it's cleared out, looking to make that initial pass upfield to Wambach.
And here you're going to see the ball in that played in nicely right across the 6-yard box. Hope Solo, if she's coming out for that, she really needs to get a foot on that. But Lundin does well to get to the near post and cause some problems for the United States. But that's probably an area that Hope Solo should get to. And you're noticing when we talked about the 4-back for the United States, they have these big gaps in midfield because their 3 midfielders are playing pinched in. And what's happening is the outside back for the United States is not shifting forward to shut down that outside midfielder for Sweden. So you're seeing a lot of service from the outside flanks of Sweden.
O'Reilly looks for Wambach. Wagner picks it up, and she's knocked down inside the box. Play continues on. I thought that would have been a penalty kick call, but it was not. Intended for Svensson. That's cut off to the right. Heather Mitz. O'Reilly. Mitz again looking for Wambach. Down again goes Abby Wambach. Lloyd lets it go. Osborne. Carly Lloyd keeping it on the ground. Wambach leaves it. Wagner floats a bending ball inside. Knocked back to Jonsson. That was a tough ball, but she got rid of it to Sjöberg. 20th minute. Sjöberg pushing it up the flank. On the turn, it's Seger. Lloyd trying to pressure her. That's what the USA was talking about. Part of their success defending. Not so much about defending, but winning that ball back and starting the offense. But they've been unable to do that so far here today. Erkvist keeps it on the ground. Svensson wanted a turn. The US wouldn't let her. It was a good read defensively. Osborne moving it forward. Wagner. Heather O'Reilly. O'Reilly with great speed. Sent in an early ball, which may have been too early. Schelin getting it back for Sweden, leaving it off. Sjöberg. Schelin. The give and go didn't work. O'Reilly. Ali Wagner. And she thought Kristine Lilly was going to make that run, and Kristine Lilly was pushing back.
And this is the great thing you're going to see about the 4-3-3 system the United States is playing. They're going to get a lot of numbers forward. You see Ali Wagner, midfielder coming forward, and the referee is not in a position. Here you're going to see a better look. Gets a little bump, but I think that's a good no call.
You do? Way to go, Jules.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I saw so many penalty kicks called in the World Cup. I'm like...
Yellow cards, red cards.
I'm so sick of referees having to play in games that I think it's good to sometimes give a no call.
On that point, I'll go with you. Here's Schelin. Cutting back. Frimpong cuts that one off.
And it's funny, Tina Frimpong, who just cleans up everything. She's like a vacuum in the back. She was like Joy Fawcett at center back. You just knew she'd clean up everything.
Wambach got a step behind the defense. She has Lilly breaking in the box. Wambach trying to force that pass through, and it was blocked by Sweden. Wambach stays with it. Now crosses near post. Deflected out. Corner kick, USA.
Good second effort by Abby Wambach and a good run by Kristine Lilly. But you're going to see Abby going at the Swedish back line, trying to bend it in behind the defender, just runs out of juice at the end. And that's been a problem with the United States. And in this heat, it's understandable. But that final pass becomes a problem. Heather O'Reilly doing the same thing. It's good to see forwards facing up and taking on, though.
Third USA corner kick. This will come from the near flank. And Rachel Wu stopping play because Stina Segerström is going to the bench for something. Bloody nose. That's what we were told. So she's coming out. Stop the bleeding, and then she'll be back out there. Meanwhile, the game goes on with a short corner kick. Ali Wagner drives it across. It's blocked, and Jonsson quickly comes off her line to smother it.
You can see Abby upset that she didn't get the handball call, yelling at the referee, Rachel Wu.
Coming to you today from the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota. USA women, their first game of 2006 on home soil, getting ready to take on this strong Swedish side. Scoreless here in the 23rd minute. As the USA begins a long road towards China 2007. That's where the next World Cup will be played for the women. Push long for Lilly. Trying to make that run, cut off right at the near flank, and it was lost out by Thunebro. And coming right back in, Stina Segerström. Knotted down now to Wagner. Didn't get enough on that as Jonsson makes an easy stop. ESPN2's presentation of U.S. Soccer is brought to you by refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. By Panasonic, official sponsor of the U.S. women's national team. Panasonic, ideas for life. And by icy cold lemon lime Sierra Mist, it's that refreshing.
Doesn't that sound good right about now?
It does. To everybody, us included. As Hope Solo plays it. The 24th minute, USA and Sweden. And a scoreless duel here.
And it's good to see Christy Rampone back after having to take all of 2005 off with her little baby Riley, who's now 9 months. Little baby girl, cute as can be.
What does Christy Rampone add to the team?
Well, with her experience on that back line, with Kate Sobrero, Mark Raff being out right now, she's one of the most experienced, and she loves to get forward. You're not seeing it yet.
She does have good speed. She's a converted striker.
Exactly.
And USA have had a lot of success with players who used to be forwards playing at the back. And they have a few on this squad as well, besides Rampone.
Tina Frimpong.
Yep. And they were good strikers in college, too. Switch back by Sjöberg. Held up by Sweden. Lundin trying to leave it off. Seger will hold. Erkvist. Inside Lundin. Good touch there. Erkvist wanted to go inside. Now backed off. Erkvist staying with it. Good on the dribble. Gets to the end line, cut it back. Blocked by Mitz. It'll go out. And it's going to belong to the United States, but that was a great effort by Erkvist.
I really like Erkvist. She's confident on the ball. I mean, especially with this heat for Sweden. There it is. 117 degrees. That temperature, that thermometer is right on the field. I mean, this is a country that's not used to the temperature getting over 75 degrees.
110 degrees at that game in Chicago today, the MLS game, so conditions very tough. Saw yesterday Michelle Wee in a golf tournament had the lead because of heat exhaustion, and that was a golf tournament in the Midwest too, so.
And the pace has been good. You know, the pace
in this game, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, for the heat on the field. I'm surprised.
In a space, and that's too long. Intended for Lilly. Jonsson is there.
Maybe that's all the fitness the United States has been running.
Well, they haven't played, as you mentioned, since May. So Greg Ryan wasn't sure what we would see here today. There's nothing like games. You can train and practice and work on conditioning. A lot of the players, the younger players, obviously needed games in order to gel. Osborne played it forward. Let me get your thoughts. 26 minutes gone. Scoreless game. Anyone have an edge?
Well, I tell you, I like Sweden on the outside. I think that's been a problem for the United States.
Cross coming over. Wambach just missing that one in the air.
When you're playing that 4-3-3 system that the United States is playing, we've talked about they need to shift those backs forward to defend and help the midfield out. They're not doing that. So Sweden's getting a lot of play on the outside flanks. But I would say right now it's pretty even. The United States has had some good looks on goal, but not getting enough pace on them.
Throw-in coming up deep in the attacking area. It's got Whitehill from Birmingham, Alabama.
I'm not used to Whitehill yet.
Me neither. She's great on the long throw-ins. That's an offensive weapon. Goes inside near post. That time not converted. There's another one of those long clearances. The look was for Lundin. Hope Solo was there. Solo's toss on the left. Rampone slows it down. She's been in 2 World Cups, 2 Olympic tournaments as well. Rampone stepping up, halfway line, trying to switch it and stretch out Sweden defensively. Sweden has good coverage over there on the side. They strip the ball away from Kristine Lilly, who gets called. For a team that wasn't playing much, they're playing a lot these days. Ireland next week, the following week against Canada. So 3 games on 3 successive weekends for the USA, which is a lot for a team that hadn't played since early May.
A busy July, and nice to be back in the United States playing domestically. Like you mentioned, JP, their first 9 games this year on the road in other countries. So especially leading up to the qualifiers for the World Cup in November, great to get some home field advantage and confidence.
Still no details on those World Cup qualifiers. We're told sometime in November, 16 tournament, CONCACAF teams. Sjöberg inside for Svensson, and Hope Solo very quick off her line. Good reaction. She tries that quick pass, though that didn't work. That's intercepted on that left side. Across inside, and Frimpong will clear it out. Thunebro made a nice play in winning that ball and trying to cross. Tina Frimpong, hometown Vancouver, Washington. Her mom is from Nigeria, father is from Ghana. She actually could have played for other countries, chose to play for the United States. corner for Sweden. They've been pretty effective so far. It's only their second corner. This is the 30th minute. Played all the way across and outside of the box now. Wambach will pick it up. Lloyd laying it back, pushed forward by Rampone. Now the U.S. will try the long ball themselves. Kristine Lilly at the end of it, try to bring it down against 3 Swedish defenders and succeeded in getting a foul. Again, we'll have a special look at Kristine Lilly's life off the field coming up at halftime.
And I asked Kristine earlier today if she enjoyed playing midfield or forward more, and she looked at me like I was crazy. She said, forward? I don't have to run half as much. What are you talking about? But you can see why she's so valuable to the United States when she plays on the front line, because she's so mobile. There she is leading that front line. Abby finding her almost in with a great ball. But she creates mobility with the other front runners because she moves so much herself.
Wagner, Lilly, and Lloyd. Those are the 3 that could strike this. They'll decide amongst themselves. Again, Greg Ryan giving them freedom to take what they see. Lloyd drives it high past the diving Jonsson.
We talked to Greg this morning, and he said they've spent the last month trying set pieces, working on different ones. And Lloyd is the one he says will step up and take it the most. She loves to crack it from the outside. She just gets under that one a little bit too much, but she can hit a shot like a Shannon McMillan could hit a shot. She can crack that thing.
First time she played for the United States was versus Ukraine.
Must be that number.
Yeah, yeah, you think? She'll turn 24 on Sunday.
And she's been a player the United States has been looking at for a long time with the youth national teams. That's the great thing about how the Federation has these national teams organized now. When I was younger, there were no under 20s, under 17s.
Here's Schelin. Toe poke off the crossbar. Oh, that was a terrific shot. I thought that was a goal for sure when I left her foot. So saved by the crossbar. Otherwise, Sweden's up. Schelin is a player we talked about before. 5 goals in World Cup qualifying. They call her a rising star in Sweden. She's 22 years of age.
And the youngsters for Sweden, you can see them stepping up, playing very well. But again, a problem for the United States in that outside back position. They're having a hard time shifting. Schelin, like you said, only 22 years old. Like Ökvist, 22 years old. 2 of the top stars for Sweden.
Some players taking advantage of the absence of other players like Lundgren and Sjostrom to shine. Here is Schelin. Lost it on the last touch. Cleared away by Whitehill. Lundin is down on the field and just getting up slowly.
And here we're going to get a great look at it. Look how wide open Schelin is right here. No one shifted. Heather Mitz is pinched in too far inside. And she's going to get a good look at goal because Heather Mitz is out of position, trying to step to ball when really a midfielder should be putting pressure on the ball. And Hope Solo having a great save here, just getting a little bit of her hand on it to hit the crossbar.
That is a good save. I thought it hit the crossbar first, but she got it. Tina Frimpong, meanwhile, gets the game's first yellow card. Let's take a look at our Panasonic game shots.
Kristine Lilly, active all half. We see her early in the game, not on the foot that she favors. And Allie Wagner, a midfielder, even though she didn't get the call on that one, which I think was a good no call. Busy and getting in the box, that's what you like to see.
So Frimpong has the first booking. Ball will belong to Sweden, apparently. Upfield, Lundin is apparently okay.
And that's a normal mistake to see for the United States. They haven't been playing a lot of international games. You see Heather Mitz caught out of position on transition probably, working out the kinks. And these are why you play 3 games in July, a few in August, and getting ready for the qualifiers in November.
Sweden giving the ball back to the USA after that injury. Show of good sportsmanship. We saw a lot of that at the World Cup, as we always do. The Mitz pass, then Wambach broken up. Abby follows it, tries to stay with it. Takes over. Lilly makes a run on the right. Wambach angles to the middle. A cutting ball for Lilly. Angling in, chipping it. Nice tip save by Jonsson. Corner kick coming up. Kristine Lilly nearly had one.
Abby going right at the defense, which is what you should do because she freezes the defense. They have to come to her and respect that play. Kristine Lilly making a great run on the outside. But that's the danger when you penetrate on the dribble because you have to play that person on the dribble. You have to respect that. And then it opens up these lanes for your forwards and your midfielders to fly into.
Fourth corner for the United States. Lilly is taking them all. We'll send it all the way across. That one goes outside the box for Carly Lloyd. Stepping in, then going down right at the edge of the box. But outside was where the contact was made.
Looking awfully similar to the penalty kick one that she didn't call. Maybe Rachel all of a sudden. The referee, Rachel Wu, thinking this is a much safer one to give.
Right outside that 18-yard box. Jockeying for position. That wall was not even close to 10 yards away. Now it's backed up.
It's a good thing I didn't have a headset on during the World Cup.
What would you have said?
Oh my goodness. I was throwing things at the TV. I was like, bring it back to studio. Let me have it at these referees.
You should have seen us. We had
crazy.
the record game with yellow cards and red cards.
Oh, I know. That's right. You guys called that. Portugal Dutch.
Wagner. That one stopped. That was 16 yellow cards, if I remember right. 4 red cards. It's a World Cup record. Not a great night for soccer.
No, not a great night for my Dutch boys. So I picked to
You picked them?
win it all. Yeah, JP. I wasn't happy about that.
I had Brazil, as did a lot of people. Congratulations, though, to Italy. Thought Germany did well, too, in that World Cup, host nation. Held up now on the left side, push forward. That's Wagner on the far side. 36 minutes gone. Foul called. Radio Shack presents MLS Soccer Saturday next week. 4 Eastern. All-Stars Landon Donovan and Chris Albright travel with the LA Galaxy to face the Columbus Crew. It's LA's last match before the All-Star break, and then the push begins toward the playoffs. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Frank Gallup is the new man in charge of the LA Galaxy. He won titles, a couple of them, with San Jose. And that one is cleared out off a mishit. Yesterday, some big news when it was announced by U.S. Soccer that Bruce Arena would not have his contract renewed. A lot of people were surprised by that. Julie, what was your take?
I think Bruce got a lot of criticism, obviously, at the World Cup, but I think his 8 years at the helm, he did a tremendous job. But I do think, regardless of how he did at the World Cup, whether people thought it was brilliant or not, 8 years is a long time as a national team coach. It's time for someone new.
You placed the call, right, today, to Sunil Gulati?
I did. I tried to get the main man, Sunil. He gave me nothing, JP.
Nothing about a successor. Sunil Gulati, the president of U.S. Soccer. I commend Bruce Arena, too, for the job that he did. He elevated the United States to its highest level ever as a soccer nation. So congratulations to Bruce for doing that. We wish him luck. Back in the USA attacking area. Left there. Quick shot. Wambach scores.
And if I could make any argument against a 4-5-1 formation, which you saw a lot at the Men's World Cup, not just with the United States, it would be this, because you see how many numbers the United States can get in the box. You got midfielders flying forward, and it all starts with that run by Kristine Lilly, getting in on the outside, and a nice ball back to Abby Wambach by Heather O'Reilly, and Abby always so good right in front of goal. She's not going to miss an opportunity like that.
For goal in the 38th minute, her 55th international goal. Tremendous strike ratio, as we said. 1 goal for every 1.33 games she has played in. She was tied with Kristine Lilly for the most goals in this calendar year. They each had 5, so now she takes over that lead.
And that's the benefit of 3 forwards. Even if it's not the prettiest ball in, Kristine gets caught up, Lilly with the ball at her feet. Heather gets it caught up with the ball at her feet. You got numbers. You know, you got midfielders coming through. You may give up a little bit on the defensive end, but you're attacking so much that I think that the benefits outweigh your defensive lapses.
That's Westberg. Leaving it off for Sjöberg. So the USA now have a lead here in the 40th minute against Sweden. We'll see if that opens up the game anymore. I think you and I were both surprised, despite this oppressive heat, how open the game has been to this point. Lloyd.
117 degrees on that field.
What's it like as a player when you're out there in these conditions?
Well, it's interesting because it's obviously dependent also on the humidity factor. And being here in Minnesota, it's not like you're playing in Arizona's dry heat. It's stifling.
Bergqvist. You can hear all the communication on the field.
So besides the heat being 117, it's as if you can't get any oxygen. You know, you're sitting, imagine you're sitting in a steam room at a spa somewhere.
Trying to run.
And actually trying to breathe at the same time. You feel like you want to hyperventilate. So that humidity, and being a California kid, I used to melt in this stuff.
What do you do at halftime? Fluids, ice?
Yeah, you put a nice cold rag over your head, which you see a lot of the Swedish team is already doing, but you do anything to drop the temperature of your head and douse it with water.
Coming up at halftime, she's the world's all-time appearance leader for a national team in the sport of soccer. Played in over 85% of her games. She's obviously talking about Kristine Lilly. We'll focus on her life beyond soccer in the first half recap. Coming up at halftime from Blaine, Minnesota, as Wagner pushes it right to Heather O'Reilly. She assisted on that first and only goal by Wambach. O'Reilly's low cross. Jonsson got it before Wambach could step in.
I do like the confidence of Heather O'Reilly, though. That's been the evolution of a young player over the last 2 years. She was a little more timid to take on. Now you're seeing her facing up defenders, going at them. Just needs to work on that final pass a little bit.
All the way back to Hope Solo. And goal for the United States. 14 career shutouts for Hope. Hoping to be the #1 goalkeeper at the next World Cup. Whitehill pushing it left, getting it back in the center of that defense. Cat can play either outside back or in the center. Goes to Heather Mitz. Too long for O'Reilly, maybe not for Lilly, who's trying to get a better angle on it. O'Reilly put on some high pressure, knocked it out. You throw in for Thunebro. In the 42nd minute. Schelin. Were it not for a nice save by Hope Solo and then the crossbar, Sweden would have had a 1-0 lead, but instead it's the USA on top on a Wambach goal. And Wambach tries to split 2 defenders, which she did with that pass to Lilly. Kristine Lilly wants it on the left, now brings it back right. Right-footed cross, Jonsson got it. No rebound, she holds on.
And here's why Kristine Lilly just amazes me still. She's 35 years old next week. She has 309 international appearances for the United States. Leads, like you said, any player, male or female. And she is the one that's constantly moving, constantly creating angles.
Oh, Wambach cracks that one. Jonsson saw the power of that shot. She was in good position. Almost knocked her over. Kristine Lilly says one more World Cup hitter, that'll be 5. That's amazing.
Yeah, I said, are you going to hold on for the Olympics? And again, she looked at me like I was crazy. She said, no, let's just take it 1 year at a time, Jules.
Svensson trying to leave it off for Lundin. And this is angled out towards the USA bench area. Nearly 43 minutes gone here in the first half, with the USA leading. And a goal by Abby Wambach in the 36th minute. Sjöberg playing it all the way across. Sweden possessing, keeping it on the ground for Svensson, this time out wide. Instead of in the middle. Svensson trying to split 2, could not. And foul was drawn. Wambach, she'll dish out and get called for fouls, but also she'll draw a lot of fouls in contact the way she holds onto the ball.
And she definitely is a target with her size and strength. She's very hard to knock off the ball, though.
Frimpong played it over in the middle. Driven long by Rampone. USA possessing, looking for another one before the half. Comes to a halt. Jonsson came out before Lilly. Sjögran pass for Lundin, and now for Sjöberg, and that goes out. USA will get it back in the 45th minute here in Blaine. US holding. They've got the lead. This is Osborne. Wanting to take this into the locker room, at least have that 1-goal lead. They could get a second. That would certainly change things for Sweden to go down by 2 at the half, especially here in the late stages, but it's cleared away by Segerström. And the half is nearly over. Hope solo. Pushed up, long on the left. That's knocked down. USA will get it. Carly Lloyd thinking about it from distance. She'll crack it, but it's wide of Jonsson. But she's not afraid to take it from distance.
And that's a perfect position where Carly Lloyd's running at the back line for Sweden, dribbling, penetrating. She loves to take that shot.
Right now we're into stoppage time. This might be it. Rachel Wu has already looked at the watch. Jonsson will clear it. She's allowing some time for injury, and that'll do it. Not that much, a little bit better than a half a minute. Kristine Lilly is our special halftime feature. Kristine Lilly, we've talked about her great career on the soccer field, but she's got a lot more now to look forward to, as you'll find out if you come back with us here at halftime. USA leads 1-0.
What he's brought is something I've been looking for my whole life, and that's, you know, someone that means more to me than anything. And I think soccer has always been that focus point for me and my family, but I think now what he's given me is him, and not only to love him and him to love me, but the opportunity to keep playing.
Players coming out of the tunnel in Blaine, Minnesota. United States 1, Sweden no score. There's your goal scorer, Abby Wambach, number 20. She scored it late in the first half of play. The players are getting ready this early for the 2007 FIFA Women's World Cup. It won't be played until September of 2007. Qualifying actually starts in November of this year. 15 countries will qualify, plus the host nation, China. And everyone obviously expects the USA to be there. It'll be a swan song for Kristine Lilly, and maybe some others too. It'll be a young team mixed in with some veteran players, and we'll see how the USA does. But right now, they're still looking to solidify roster and starters.
And really, I think that's one of the strengths of the United States, is they will never take that qualification process for granted. Even though they have to play 2 games is all, it's not as arduous as long as the men's side, but they know there's always a chance that you could slip up somewhere along the way, so they will be taking those qualifications very seriously.
Second half underway. If you're just joining us, USA in white, Sweden in the yellow and blue. Jonsson holding on to it. We'd like to thank Sierra Mist and all of our U.S. soccer sponsors for allowing us to present this game without interruption. No subs to start this second half of play. Out it goes for a throw-in. Sweden just 1 win away from getting a spot in the 07 World Cup. So even though the United States and their region, CONCACAF, have not started qualifying, Sweden's almost through.
And Sweden and Asia are the only 2 continents that actually have a whole qualification process on the women's side. Unlike the men's side, where you see it lingering on for 2 years, there's only 2 that do that on the women's side.
Sweden trying to push it forward. That's cleared by Whitehill. Wagner. You will be allowed 6 subs today, and we think we'll see a bunch of them at some point in this match. Here's Lilly on the turn. Going back the other way. Lilly's low cross. She wanted Ali Wagner. Nice ball to Osborne. Carly Lloyd, before she could turn, Erkvist steps in, wins the ball. Tries to lead it for Lundin. That ball was behind her, and the subsequent pass behind Svensson. Osborne flicked forward. Heather O'Reilly with great speed, going to the outside. Against Sjöberg, it's deflected in front, and Jonsson covers it.
And that's the 4th or 5th time we've seen Heather O'Reilly face up and take a defender on. The problem she's having is she's running out of gas a little bit at the end, trying to get a ball in across the seam and just not finding the exact seam, but doing a great job in terms of her confidence in facing up and taking on.
Heather O'Reilly would have probably made that 2003 World Cup team. Injured against Ireland in a game in Salt Lake City and didn't make it back in time, but made it back to help out your team in the Olympics.
And I'm grimacing because I remember it was a broken leg.
Yeah, I remember it too. Out it goes, corner kick. So an opportunity for Sweden. 3rd corner for them.
And that's the, I mean, although the European teams have to go through this long process of qualifying, the one thing that's great for them is they get these really good games consistently. The United States is kind of spotty with their games.
On that corner, Svensson couldn't get to it. Sent back the other way by Segerström. Lilly won that in the air, but Sweden will take it back. Laid off by Erkvist. Inside for Lundin. The flag is up. Offside, Sweden. USA will take it from the back. We talked about Osborne today starting for the injured Shannon Box. How has she done today?
Leslie Osborne, I think she's done well. I think the defensive presence that Shannon Box brings hasn't been there, but it hasn't needed to be there necessarily. With Sweden missing Malin Mostrom, it's a big loss for them in the middle of midfield for them. So she hasn't had to be as much of a presence defensively as Shannon Box typically is.
Part of that great youth program for the United States, Leslie Osborne, that under-19 team that won the title in 2002. Several great players have come from that. O'Reilly, Lindsay Tarpley, Chalupny, who we may see later today off the subs bench. Off that free kick inside, intended for Wambach, and Jonsson got there before Heather O'Reilly could. Cleared out to Schelin. She'll play it back. The Sjöberg pass into the middle. Westberg. Played back by Segerström. Just a 1-goal lead for the United States. Here in the 50th minute. Available subs, we mentioned 6 from each side eligible to participate, and I'm sure we'll see them probably soon. Wambach try to cut inside of Westberg. Westberg, one of several players on Sweden, especially at the back, with over 100 caps.
And here you're going to get a look at the earlier offside for Sweden. Remember, it's when the ball gets struck, and look at how you see the offside line being here. The Swedish player are clearly onside. Unfortunately, a bad call by the referee, and Sweden misses out on a good opportunity.
Still a 1-0 lead for the United States, 51st minute. Long run on that far side. Thunebro. Thunebro staying with it, trying to get free up the wing. Last pass fails. USA strikes a long ball. Nobody even close to that one. Caroline Jonsson with it.
And this second half, with the heat as it is, you're going to see a Swedish team that's trying to keep the game at their pace. Keep it compact. If they spread it out, and the United States starts running at them, they're going to get in a lot of trouble.
You surprised we didn't see subs at 45 minutes? Or you think they're waiting for 60 minutes?
I think we'll see about 6 from each side, actually. But they're probably giving them another 15 minutes to run it.
Halfway line for Osborne. Some nice quick touches there. Not the last one. That's picked off by Seger.
And what's interesting to see, this is the first time the United States has done a residency, a 6-month residency in a non-World Cup, non-Olympic year. And what you see out of it is you see tremendous rhythm between some of the players.
Lilly will take it left. Pokes it back for Wagner. Tried to do well to jump out of that challenge. Couldn't do it. Schelin, that's a nice play. Good move again. Taken down. Good advantage call from the referee, Rachel Wu, as Sweden breaks. They've got 4 in the attack. Sjögran leads it. Looks for Lundin, but it's too far. They rushed it.
And the United States doing a very good job there. Sweden counterattacking well, just delaying, forcing them to make a bad pass.
Look at this one for Wambach. Sweden fell asleep there defensively. Wambach nearly ran that one down with Jonsson having to come out. 53rd minute. Lloyd staying strong on the ball. Slotted it almost through to Heather O'Reilly. Tell you what, they're not slowing the game down now at all. It's almost like they're thinking, I've got another 10 or 15 minutes that I'm coming out. Let's go for it.
Right.
But I'm amazed at the pace under these conditions. Over the top for Wambach, and it's cleared by Jonsson. She's had to be very active there. Now we talk about the heat and mistakes that are made because of physical play, but how about mentally too? I've got to think that your head out there. Oh, the temperature's dropping. Is that right?
Look at that.
That's probably broken from the heat. Lloyd will strike this one off the post. Jonsson was in a full stretch, and I don't think she touched it. Here's Lloyd again. She's strong in the ball. Sweden will take it over.
And we talked about Lloyd loving to crack those from the outside. She's very good at hitting them. So the United States will be asking her to do that all day. But you're right, JP, mentally it's draining because all you can think about is the heat. So you got to really stay focused on staying in the game and trying to somehow shut out that oppressive humidity.
Tina Frimpong for the United States as the subs continue to warm up for both sides here in Blaine, Minnesota. USA's first match on home soil this calendar year. O'Reilly, right corner, right by the flag. She waits, has some help. Lilly dropped back into space to receive that ball. That was so well done, but the shot was blocked. Lost there by Sweden. Picking it up first, Wambach. Knocked out. It's going to be USA's ball on a corner kick. Lindsay Tarpley warming up. Natasha Kai also up. We may see them next. 5th corner kick, meanwhile, for the United States.
And there's a lot of targets coming forward for the United States. Abby Wambach, the obvious one. Tina Frimpong is also very good in the air. Leslie Osborne. It's the new United States, a bunch of giants they can go to.
Driven hard by Wagner to the middle. Headed forward, cleared away by the Swedish back line. And now sent out. It'll be a throw in deep for the United States. 55th minute. USA still holding on to a 1-0 lead on a Wambach goal in the first half. Whitehill with those long throw-ins near post, not long enough. Deflected away, Lundin with a block and has some help. Third ahead to the captain, Victoria Svensson. Schelin, nice job to lay it off, and then she'll go forward to try to get this back. She's an impressive looking player. All the way across, Lilly drifting open. Lilly inside. Slow down, she stays with it, bounces back up once, not the second time. Sweden persevered.
And great defense by Sjöberg, but you're seeing the Swedish play a very aggressive defensive line. They're stepping really high. So Lloyd and Ali Wagner, the 2 offensive central midfielders for the United States, are just pinging balls in and getting these forwards in behind the restraining line because Sweden is playing so aggressively. I can understand trying to keep it compact, but what they end up doing is killing themselves because they're chasing all the time.
Throw in from Erkvist. Seger, who's going after it. O'Reilly got there first to Abby Wambach. Right now, Wambach's by herself, 1 against 2. Lays it back for possession's sake to Wagner, then to Lilly. Wagner with a look around. She'll switch it. It's slightly behind, though, so Mitz had to wait. Frimpong. Good ball up the middle to Osborne. Deflected a couple of times. Lloyd for O'Reilly. Taken away by Sjögran. Erkvist thinks long ball, now delivers for Lundin. It's too far, and Frimpong will get there first.
And that's really the beauty of having a Tina Frimpong. She is so fast. Every player you talk to for the United States talks about when they're going up against her in practice, she is impossible to beat with her speed.
Long ball intended for Wambach is blocked. They'll try again, the U.S., but that's intercepted by Sjöberg.
So what ends up happening is she cleans up everything. You know, I was talking about Joy Fawcett used to do it for the United States before. With her speed, if you match him up next to a central back that isn't necessarily as fast, it's okay because she's cleaning everything up for you.
Laid off to Svensson, cleared away. U.S. trying to bring it forward with O'Reilly. Sweden still staying very aggressive. They win that ball back for Jonsson. 58th minute. Caroline Jonsson will clear it. She's a member of that World Cup team for Sweden. Very experienced side, a very good side that could have been World Cup champions in 2003. They finished second to Germany. Svensson trying to play it through. That's cut off. It was intended for Erkvist. Harley Lloyd. Wagner back for Lloyd. Wambach chested it down for Wagner. Turning, and that one got away. We're going to see subs coming in. Natasha Kai, number 6. The first Hawaiian-born player to ever play for the USA women's national team. Brian Ching makes that claim on the men's side. So we'll see who's going to come out for her. Both teams are going to make some changes. But Kai will come in first. And it's going to be Heather O'Reilly that's going to be leaving. So O'Reilly makes an exit. Natasha Kai comes in, and you mentioned Natasha Kai's strike ratio, the 3 goals in the 5 games, and all of those goals have come in when she's come in as a sub. And that's her role today. First of 6 substitutes. While they're looking at Frimpong, we mentioned the news yesterday at Bruce Arena, not having his contract renewed. So there's immediate speculation as to who might be the next coach. What would you think about Jürgen Klinsmann? That's been a rumor.
Well, seeing that he lives in Orange County, Los Angeles area, I think it makes perfect sense.
He's almost an American, right? I mean,
right.
His family.
I think whether it's an American or an international, someone with the experience who understands the game at the world stage, who's played at elite level, I think obviously helps, but isn't a necessity. But I mean, Jürgen Klinsmann just transformed that German team and really the whole country.
Yeah, he did. I mean, he transformed the whole nation. And if you can remember, when the USA played Germany back in the spring, they wanted him fired. There was a lot of speculation about Klinsmann not even making it.
Yeah, 1 month before the World Cup.
And
even going into the World Cup, Beckenbauer was saying, you know, this could be just a disgrace for the country.
Klinsmann was terrific.
They changed their tune quickly.
So LePeilbet comes in, Frimpong comes out. That's the second substitution made. And at the very least, you've got some fresh legs out there. Frimpong played well today.
She did. I actually like her at that center back position. She doesn't have to do as much playmaking as she does on the outside position. She's fast, so she covers for a lot of the back line.
Wambach leading it. Besides the fresh legs, you got players also looking for playing time in the future. Here's Kristine Lilly's cross into the middle. Partially shanked there. It's caught by Jonsson. I mean, who knows who's going to be on the roster for the next World Cup, but some of these players know that they still have a shot at making it.
And last year, we talked about in the Open, Greg Ryan looking at a ton of different players. He brought in, you know, a lot of uncapped players just to give him a look, and now this is when he's narrowing down. The funnel starts to get thinner and thinner, and of course, all these players, like you said, trying to get one of those final 20 roster spots to make it into qualifications.
And Wambach, obviously, not one of those bubble players. She is a sure shot. You can sit at home and pick out a number of players you know will be there, but there'll be a lot of spots open. Here's Wagner. That's blocked, taken over. Victoria Svensson. Intercepted for the moment. Sweden will get it back, and they'll play it forward. Pushed over to the right side. Meanwhile, Sweden made some changes with Marklund in and Sjöberg out. Aronsson in, Lundin out. And Sjostrom in, Schelin out. That's why we were talking about Jürgen Klinsmann. That's why you missed out on that. But those were the 3 changes, 3 out of 6 subs.
Marklund with 101 caps, bringing some experience to that back line. They had 3 of those 4 defenders in for Sweden. Very young.
Seger pushing it up. Right side, Erkvist.
It's been a quiet day for the outside backs of the United States, Christy Rampone and Heather Mitz. Typically in a 4-3-3, you would see them flying forward. I think that's in large part due to Erkvist being so active on the outside for Sweden, and Schelin, who just came out, being so active as well, keeping them honest.
Another throw-in coming up. Christy Rampone, Carly Lloyd, Osborne, several players. I wonder who'll get the full 90 here today. We do expect all the subs would be used under these conditions. And Wambach down again in that collision, and a yellow card was just issued. Second card, this one goes to Wambach. Frimpong had one earlier. Played across by Westberg. On the attack, it goes forward. Svensson let it go for Erkvist. Leads it, cut off by Hope Solo. And already booting it forward for Wambach. That was a good long kick for her. Wambach, Natasha Kai, and there was another collision. Didn't see what happened there. I was following the ball, but Wambach already has a yellow card.
And this is typical of Abby Wambach, and there's no malice intended in this. She loves to go in for balls. She's fearless and when she's going for things. And that's just an unfortunate elbow. She came in a little low. But I don't think Abby was intentionally flying one.
Thunebro, the player down. And hopefully she is okay.
It's something I learned quickly when I was practicing against Abby.
Injuries, I would imagine, on a day like today feel even worse. Once you've been running around for this length of time in the heat. And right back on her feet, which is good to see. Sarah Thunebro. You see what the players are battling today condition-wise. What breeze we have is really a breeze of warm air, nothing more.
That must feel like wintertime compared to first half when it was 117. That's illegal.
Shocking. Do you remember what the worst conditions were that you played in terms of heat?
I would say Minnesota has always rivaled those conditions. Played a few times, obviously, in Atlanta, in Georgia, where it's hot. Anything with that high humidity. Whew.
You're safe here, don't worry. Here's Natasha Kai. Oh, nice move. Another good one. She's fresh coming off that bench. Cleared away. That's where the subs can really make a difference here, running at players that have been running for the first 65 minutes, chasing in this heat and humidity. Rampone's pass. Nice deflection by Wagner. Lilly. Looked more like a pass than a shot to that far post. It goes out. ESPN2's presentation of U.S. Soccer is brought to you by Icy Cold Lemon Lime Sierra Mist. It's that refreshing. Refreshingly smooth Bud Light, always worth it. And the 2007 Hyundai Sonata. It's time to rethink everything. Sweden's going to make another change. Number 6, Elin Elblom comes in. And coming out, Ukvist, who I thought had a very strong game today for Sweden.
I agree.
They're a good team. And assuming that they qualify for the next World Cup by winning one of the next 2 games, I would think they'd be among the favorites, considering Lundgren and Sjostrom too.
I was going to say, with Lundgren and Sjostrom out, 2 very, very good players. 2 of probably some of my best favorite players in the world, actually.
Elblom sends it in. Oh, nobody there to knock it in. They had a couple of players making runs toward goal. You're watching the USA Women's National Team in their first match on home soil of 2006. They get ready. They're headed for World Cup qualifying later this fall, taking on Sweden today. Abby Wambach with the lone goal in this one. along with a former World Cup champion, Olympic champion Julie Foudy. I'm JP Dellacamera. Thanks for joining us this afternoon here in Blaine, Minnesota. Kristine Lilly leaving it, and Wambach got tripped. No card given, just the free kick.
I think Abby's been very active. We talked about Kristine in the first half. I've loved seeing how busy she is, you know, especially with her size. She's almost 6 feet tall. She's got a large frame. She is so mobile, and that is so hard to defend.
5'11", she's from Rochester, New York. Free kick. Whitehill striking, and when she shoots from there, she has a legitimate chance to put it on net, and that's why sometimes she'll take those long ones. Coming up immediately following this match, the World Cup of Softball continues. The United States taking on China. The World Cup of Softball presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, also available high definition on ESPN2 HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Another player down for Sweden. It'll be knocked out of play. 69th minute. Conditions continuing to take a toll. Here's our Panasonic game shots, or maybe shot here. Let's look at the goal.
And Kristine Lilly doing a good give and go, getting in line. You always want to see in a forward. She's trying to turn the defense, gets caught up, but still Heather O'Reilly doing a good job to keep it alive. And then I would put my money on Abby Wambach in that position. Most times she's very solid finishing that, so keeps it low and puts USA up 1-0. The only goal of the game.
Wambach, 50th career goal in 64 games. Only Michelle Akers did better in less than 50 games. And to put that in perspective, it took Mia Hamm 94 games to reach that mark. Why is she such a special goal scorer?
It's unbelievable. When you look at Mia Hamm, you know, with 158 career international goals, and she's done it almost twice as fast as Mia did. I think because she's got it all. She's got the complete package. She has an incredible sense in front of goal. She always knows where to be. She's great in the air. She dominates like Michelle Akers used to dominate in the air. And then very similar to Michelle, she's great with both feet, hits the ball well.
And at age 26, still a long way to go. So she may set her sights on that record later. Svensson will play it left. Sweden on the attack. They'll get a corner kick out of it. They continue to play hard and strong, Sweden, this afternoon in conditions that certainly do not favor them.
I'm impressed. It's 70 minutes in, and I thought with this heat that they would fade faster than this. But this is a testament to their league in Sweden. They're all playing actively in a professional league over there. I played in it for a summer, 2 summers. Very high level.
Goalkeeper change, Sofia Lundgren, number 21. She's 23 years of age. She'll replace Jonsson. I thought Jonsson was strong, but we know about Jonsson from previous World Cups and Olympics. So
There's
no surprise there.
2 young keepers for Sweden who are getting a look.
Inside, that's not a down. Heather Mitz needs to clear this and does. Be a throw-in for Sweden.
And that's obviously the beauty of friendlies and having 6 substitutions, unlike the World Cup where you only have 3, is you can try players out still.
Sweden pinging it around. That was off Seger. Oh, the turn by Svensson, then she got clipped. Free kick coming for Sweden. Caroline Jonsson had a good day today, but now she becomes a spectator for her team. This free kick will be taken from about 30 yards away. Maybe a little better. Lindsay Tarpley getting ready to check into the match for the United States. Who will strike this, Svensson or Seger? Svensson passing it inside. And quick shot taken, and a goal. Sweden have tied this one up. It looked like the sub, Sjostrom, got a piece of that ball, knocking it home. 1-1. Off a set piece.
And instead of hitting it hard, this is interesting. They change it up. They do a little chip shot over the wall, and then it's going to take a deflection, it looks like, off a USA defender. But again, a good little ball in. It was actually a little bit short. She gets lucky here, and Sjostrom, that's what they say, 100% of shots not taken don't go in. That's why you take them. You never know what's going to happen, if it's going to get a deflection. But really, the United States probably should get that out of there in the first clear, not giving her a chance to play it back.
The danger of Sweden, especially on a set piece like that. Meanwhile, Lindsay Tarpley has checked in.
I was actually thinking, being 30 yards out, they were going to whip one in around the 6-yard box and try and get a header deflection. So that probably caught the United States by surprise when they dink it in behind the wall like that.
Knotted down. Here's Kristine Lilly. Tarpley had checked in for Wagner.
And what one goal will do to your mentality in 92-degree weather, especially for a Sweden. All of a sudden, your legs feel a little bit better.
Well, you know, they never gave up in this game.
No, and that's typically Swedish. They're so good like that. They have such a great workman-like mentality.
Tasha Kai, USA, now even in this one apiece. Can Sweden hang on? This would be just like a win, I would think, for them on the road against the United States, and especially trailing and under these conditions.
And that's really when you're in the last 20 minutes of a game, you want to be very careful about giving up set pieces, free kicks around your box, because that's exactly what can happen.
Over to Lilly. The USA captain moving it forward, still going. Like the game just started, she still has great conditioning. Played inside the box, and there's Lundgren coming out and making the play. And now it's the USA chasing this game. Sjostrom. Deflected back. Tarpley. Set a strong Olympics for the United States. It'll go forward to Lilly. She has a little room and a little time. That's being closed down now. Lilly lays it back. Tarpley tried but couldn't get to it. It's cleared out by Sweden. Sjöstrom's after it. Far side, Sjostrom on the chase. She has help. Svensson picks up a free one. Victoria Svensson will play it across. Elblom. Nice ball the other way, but not nice enough. Headed away by Heather Mitz.
And you're seeing the United States sending numbers. They're being aggressive about attacking, which Greg talked about they would do. They would try and win the ball and get numbers on the quick counterattack. But Sweden, very sophisticated in how they're dealing with it. They're putting it right back at the United States and counterattacking themselves.
Heather Mitz dropping it back. Cleared away. Sweden getting it back again. They're playing with some confidence now. A goal, even before that goal, they were playing with some, but that goal certainly picked them up. Seger. Sjögran. Hanna Marklund. She'll hold it. Another one of their experienced players. She came in the second half as a sub. There's a cross in the corner. Carly Lloyd. Nearly picked off, and now it is sent back the other way by Sweden. It'll go out for a throw-in. The quest to qualify for the 2007 Women's World Cup continues for the United States. They have a tune-up match versus Ireland next week. Live coverage on ESPN2 begins Sunday, July 23rd, 4 Eastern, from Torero Stadium in the campus of the University of San Diego, where you used to play in the WUSA.
Field of Dreams?
Yeah.
I love that little stadium.
Have to get that league back. I would think that that was a major help to the USA national team. How is it now without a league?
It's looking good. 2007 is out of the question, but I'm cautiously optimistic that 2008 it could happen. You're seeing a lot of potential owners and investors very excited about it, especially with all these soccer-specific stadiums going up all over the country.
Look forward to it.
Got a lot of young kids at my camps and all over the place asking, so for their sake, I really hope it gets back and kicking it again. No pun intended.
Nope. Free kick, 77th minute. Sweden and the USA tied, one apiece. Lofted in, and you can hear Hope Solo calling keeper. That's hers. 5'9" goalkeeper out of Richland, Washington.
Having played in Sweden herself, she's used to those driven balls in. That's all practice consisted of, was driving balls into someone's head.
Tarpley for Wambach. Now we got that ball ahead. Slid over, left side, Natasha Kai chasing it down. Looks to cross it. Cleared by Sweden, not out of danger yet. Carly Lloyd's pass. Poked ahead, that was by Wambach. Heather Mitz jumping into the play. Now to Wambach to the right. Dropping it back into the hole. Tarpley, that pass. Bit of a clip there, play continues on. And Sweden are back with the ball. They tied it in a goal by Sjostrom in the 72nd minute. Wambach had scored in the 38th. USA led 1-0 at halftime. Credit to Sweden for coming back.
And you know what's interesting is you would think the United States would be more suited to this weather, but you're seeing the United States make more of the technical mistakes, giving the ball away easily. Just mental lapses when you get in this heat in almost the 80th minute. Sweden's looking much sharper.
Sjostrom lofting that one into the box. Elblom couldn't get it. USA clearing it. Natasha Kai. Sweden have another sub up. It's Nilla Fischer, number 18. USA have a sub up as well. Lori Chalupny. Wambach off Natasha Kai. And that's cleared. Sweden coming back. Lead pass. They wanted Svensson. That's going to be knocked out of play. Throw in coming up. Going to make a substitution. And while the subs are happening, we've got Allie Wagner, who just came out of that game moments ago for the United States. And who better ask than you, Allie, what the game conditions were like at field level?
You know, it was hot. It was windy out here. But I don't think the heat was as much of a factor as the wind was. You know, our balls weren't going where we wanted them to go. They were hanging up in the first half. You know, it's something we should be able to deal with, and I think we're not playing as well as we should.
Allie, you guys have been in residency for a few months now in a non-World Cup year. How has that helped, you think, in terms of the team's cohesiveness?
You know, I think you're seeing glimpses of it where we have moments of brilliance and we're connecting, and then maybe we don't finish the final goal. But I think we're coming together pretty well. I am a bit disappointed in the way we're playing today. I think we could be doing better. But, you know, residency is definitely bringing us together.
What do you guys have to work on, Allie, in terms of getting ready for World Cup qualifying in November?
Just a bit more of the same. I think making better decisions on the ball. You know, our finishing, that's usually the last thing to come. We're getting better at it, but I think we can step that up a bit. And, you know, I think just reading each other better.
Allie, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
You gonna go stick your head in an ice bucket, Allie?
A beer bucket. Just kidding.
Easy. This is a family show.
USA and Sweden 1-1 here. Wagner, by the way, 98th capped, so should be the next one to get to 100. And that'll be the game that's played in Cary, North Carolina, against Canada. Right side, pushed forward by Sweden. Looking to sneak another one in before this one closes. Plenty of time left. 81st minute, and Sweden will draw the foul.
Ooh, and another dangerous one to give up. They're so dangerous, Swedish team on set pieces right here. This is just one that you try and avoid. And especially in this position, because if you can whip this ball in, it's difficult for a goalkeeper to decide if they want to come off their line, especially if it's played in with pace.
You know, we actually heard the wind when we were talking to Allie Wagner. During that interview, you could hear it, but we don't certainly feel it from up here. Free kick coming for Sweden. It's going to go near post, but blocked by the two-man wall. It's cleared back the other way.
And that's unfortunate for Sweden, because there's a good opportunity that you just cannot hit that ball into the wall right there.
Tarpley looking to turn. Another player who had a great career, University of North Carolina. Tarpley was a forward for most of her young life, but now is an attacking midfielder and has settled into that role. the throw in. Natasha Kai's pass back blocked. Cleared by Fisher. Stays in play. Svensson knocked out by the United States. 1-1, 83rd minute. USA back in action next weekend in San Diego against Ireland. The following weekend versus Canada in Cary, North Carolina. They'll play Mexico and Rochester in September. Trying to get a lot of games in before World Cup qualifying in November. Wambach leading it left. Into the middle for Lilly. That's tackled away. Over to the far side. That's your goal scorer, Sjostrom. Switched across. Elblom. Elblom looking across. Sends it in low. Back into the box. Jennifer Svensson. Off that hit by Osborne. It rolls to the sideline. Osborne, she may get a full 90 out of here, replacing Shannon Box. We talked about earlier subs, Lloyd Chalupny replacing Heather Mitz. Chalupny's been bothered by some injury problems, some concussion problems, but she's a player for the future to look at.
I really like Lori Chalupny, but has had a hard few months, hasn't been even playing because of a couple concussions. So good to see her back on the field.
On the chase. Whitehill will just let it go out. It's a goal kick coming up. Coming up immediately following this match, the World Cup of Softball continues. The United States meeting China. The World Cup of Softball presented by Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, also available in high definition on ESPN2 HD. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. Tackled out by Rampone for the United States here in the 85th minute.
And the value in Lori Chalupny is that she's an outside back that is actually an outside midfielder. She played an outside flank position for the University of North Carolina for many years, so she loves to get forward, is great on the ball. You didn't see much of that from the two outside backs of the United States in the first 75 minutes, so she may be flying, hopefully, in this last 5.
USA led in the first half with a goal by Wambach. This is Lori Chalupny, 22 from St. Louis, Missouri, and one of many players who went on to play at the University of North Carolina. She had said playing in that spot that you mentioned, left midfielder, helped her make the transition to a left back here.
Especially in a 3-4-3 system, you're basically a left back, a left midfielder, and a left forward.
On a bouncing ball towards Wambach. Lundgren took it.
It's a great position, JP. Just run 120s all day. Go.
Kept on the ground by Sweden for Svensson. Halfway line. Pass. Flag goes up. Offside is Aronsson. In the 86th minute, 22-year-old playing in only her 5th international match for Sweden. 4 draws in their last 9 meetings. USA with a lopsided edge in the overall history, but lately the games have been much closer. Why do you think?
I think the Swedish Football Federation has done a great job with the women's team. I think the funding probably in the early 90s for them was not where it needed to be, and you're seeing tremendous support from the Swedish Federation for the women's team. They had the World Cup in '95, and after that, they hosted it in '95. After that, you've seen a much different Swedish team, and they have a very good league where you're developing many players. Your pool is just that much larger. You can see the depth in this team for Sweden.
Yellow card is going to be awarded to Seger for that last challenge. I couldn't count the number of times she's been down on this field today. Couldn't count.
And this is where you're going to see Abby just draws a lot of attention, and that is a hard tackle, a good tackle though. Again, not vicious, but she's going to draw 2-3 players. It's why she's so valuable, because then that means another 2-3 players for the United States are open.
Carly Lloyd's free kick. Back post, headed up and headed out. Goal kick for Sweden.
And I think the United States, even though they've been working on these set pieces, the ones from distance, they haven't had much success with the initial service. They should be doing better. They should be having better servicing so they can create something on target, on goal. it's been interesting. Kat Whitehill had a couple looks from outside where she sent him over the end line without even anyone even getting a head on him.
Headed straight up and then knotted down by Chalupny. It goes out. Throw in for Sweden in the 88th minute. A 1-1 match. USA had a 1-goal lead, but Sjostrom tied it in the 72nd minute. USA with Chalupny. Pushed into space. Nobody to receive that ball. Westberg gets it back. Gave it away to Carly Lloyd. Carly Lloyd cutting. Still running strong here in the late stages of this one. Tarpley back. Osborne. Wambach. Juggle, that's Tarpley. And then that last pass failed. Here's Sweden with Fischer. Left side, Sjostrom.
You know what I really like about Carly Lloyd, which you don't see in a lot of younger players, is she loves to penetrate on the dribble. You don't see that out of midfield enough, I think, in some of the younger players coming up. They're taught to play quickly, 1 and 2 touch, instead of this creativeness that draws the defense. Because what happens when you do that out of the midfield is everyone collapses on you and it opens up everything else. So she's got great instincts for that, and playing a attacking central midfield position, she's perfectly suited for it.
Whitehill will clear in the 89th minute. Oh, Lundgren missed it! And it rolls in! The USA have scored from long distance. They'll take it.
And this is one of the risks as Sweden that you take. They substitute out their experienced keeper in Jonsson, put in a young keeper in Lundgren, and here you're going to see a mistake. She's trying to come out. Just after I said Kat wasn't serving in good balls, a good service in, Lundgren comes out. When she comes out that far, the keeper for the Swedish team, you got to get something on it. You got to get a punch, you got to get anything on it. But Abby doing a good job coming across and really blocking her from getting to that ball.
It's beyond 50 yards on that strike by Whitehill. Now back the other way. Sweden still fighting to get that tying goal. So the U.S. gets a break. Jonsson, if she was in goal, that may not have happened. But again, the USA will take it, whether it's from long distance or close in.
And Kat is known for those long services in, and that was a good one. She had a few in the first half that just went over the inline.
Credit Wambach too, as well as maybe slighting the goalkeeper for Sweden, but Wambach is a distraction there.
And even though Wambach is 5'11", almost 6 feet tall, we talked about her being just so strong in size. As a keeper, you got to come out strong. You should be barreling people over, even if they're 6 feet tall.
Even if they're bigger than you. Marklund. Oh, she rides off that challenge very well. A cutting ball back was intercepted. LePeilbet out on the wing, knocked forward, but out of play, right in front of the Swedish bench. 2 minutes of stoppage time. And this game in a stoppage time now. Again, it's a throw-in for Sweden. Can they come back a second time with time against them? Cut off, but Sweden will get it back. Elblom. Oh, Solomon caught it, it goes in! Sweden is tied in from an incredible angle.
Wow.
What a strange game, what a strange ending.
Who says the last 5 minutes of a soccer game aren't very exciting? We used to call it the big five, the last 5 of every half, because this is what happens. And Hope gets caught on her near post here, not expecting a shot's going to happen. And who knows if that's a cross or a shot, but caught too close to her near post and just really gets caught by surprise there. And Elblom with a good quick turn. I think she's probably trying to cross that ball, but still Hope should be off her line a little bit. Caught positionally, surprised.
Here's Natasha Kai, Elblom's first international goal. Here's Kristine Lilly looking to turn, pushing it back. Carly Lloyd. It's 2-2 now. Sweden have done almost the unthinkable, coming back twice against the United States here on foreign soil for them. About a half a minute to go.
And this is actually probably a good lesson for Hope Solo, a young keeper. She hasn't been scored on much this year. She lets in 2 goals today, and it's something she can look at and build off. I mean, we've always said as a team, you extract so many lessons from losses and mistakes. So she'll look at this and grow and become a better keeper because of it.
How to play again, another throw with time running out here.
It's surely better to happen now than in a World Cup qualifier.
For a World Cup game. Throw in, USA, closing seconds, deflected. Lilly shot, she scores the goal! Kristine Lilly tagged it with her left foot. You've got to be kidding.
That's great. We should play all games in 117-degree heat. If this is how the finish is going to be. Last 5 minutes. And this is what I love about the United States. They're just going to never give up. And the ball's bouncing around. A miss clear by Sweden. Kristine Lilly gets it on her favorite left foot. So dangerous. Front of goal, making a 110 for Kristine Lilly. International goals.
She's 35 next week. She was hitting that ball like the game just started. What a terrific player and a terrific way for her to end this match. Kristine Lilly gives the United States the victory, 3-2 when we come back. That's the player we'll be talking to, the captain from Wilton, Connecticut, number 13, Kristine Lilly. She strikes again. USA wins.